awaiting. Cassidy and the skunk continued. The day at school went by quickly. Today was reading and math, which she particularly liked. Her friend Summer got very excited during lunch when Cassidy brought out the chocolate cake sandwich. Lunch was never very important to Cassidy. She would eat some things because it seemed to make Dad happy. He kept trying to make it interesting with lots of different treats and tastes. Today was different. When Cassidy opened her lunchbox and unwrapped the sandwich, Summer's mouth dropped open. "What is that?" she nearly whispered. Cassidy smiled and tried to act like it was the most normal thing in the world. "My sandwich." "Yeah, but it's... Summer kept staring at the thick, gooey slabs of chocolate cake. "Chocolate," finished Cassidy, taking a bite. It's good chocolate, too. Dad made the cake last night, and then he put a really thick layer of icing inside. It's pretty good." She looked at Summer, who was staring so hard she wasn't even blinking her eyes. Summer might like chocolate even more than Cassidy. "Oh, would you like some?" asked Cassidy, breaking off a piece and handing it to Summer. Summer nodded, taking the sandwich and putting the whole thing in her mouth. "That's the best sandwich I ever tasted. And your dad made this for you?" Cassidy nodded, smiling. She wanted to tell Summer about Hissy Boo, but she remembered the warning. She wanted to keep using the button, so instead of telling her about it, Cassidy said, "I guess he's trying a new kind of lunch menu." She broke off another piece of her sandwich and handed it to Summer. Summer sighed happily. "I hope he decides to stick with this forever. This is the best lunch in the world." Cassidy had to agree. For the first time, she could remember she ate every single thing Dad packed, and even wished there was more. The afternoon zipped by. After school was gymnastics. She and Linnea rode the bus there together, but were in different classes. Ursula, who helped out before Mom and Dad got home, picked them up after gymnastics, and they walked home. Bursting through the door, Cassidy headed upstairs. "Where are you going so quickly?" asked Ursula. "I want to go to my room," answered Cassidy. "I want to change out of my gymnastics leotard." "But you always like to wear it and practice with Linnea. Don't you want to show me what you learned?" Not right now." Cassidy really wanted to get up to her room to see if Herbie was still there. "Why not?" Ursula started up the stairs. "Are you feeling okay?" "Yes, I'm just a little..." "A little what?" Just then there was a loud clunk downstairs, and Linnea started to scream. She had been practicing her gymnastics, and something had gone wrong. Ursula turned and hurried downstairs, calling, "Linnea, are you okay?" Cassidy sighed. "Thanks, Linnea. I hope it didn't hurt, but it sure helped me." She hurried into her room. No Herbie. She threw the covers off the bed. No Herbie. While she was a little disappointed because he was so cute, she was also glad. "I don't know how I would be able to keep him hidden eating all he does," she thought. "No one would believe I was eating all those vegetables." She pulled off her leotard and found her favorite tights in the dresser. She pulled them on and looked for the new pink sweatshirt that Mom had bought. She loved all the glitter and beads. "Where is it?" she thought, looking through the dresser. Not there. She looked under the bed. Nope. She looked in the pile under her table. Not there either. "Maybe it's in the closet," she thought, threw the closet door open, then screamed. There, hiding, not very well, in the back of the closet with all the loose clothes piled on top of him, was Herbie, shaking like he was stuck on a snowbank on a cold day. The clothes he had pulled over himself weren't doing a very good job of hiding him. They just made it hard for him to see. He was trying to peek from under a sweater that was half covering his eye, and he was big. When she had left this morning, Herbie was about the size of a small soccer ball. Now he came up to her waist. "Cassidy," called Ursula from downstairs, "did you hurt yourself?" Cassidy raised her voice and shouted, "No, I'm fine. I slipped a little, but I didn't fall. I'm okay. I'll be down in a little bit." "Okay, I'm getting Linnea a snack. Your dad left you a plate full of chocolate cookies dipped in chocolate sauce." Cassidy smiled. At least that's still working fine, she thought. Turning back to Herbie, she began pulling her clothes away from his eye. "You scared me. Why are you in the closet, and how did you get to be so big?" With a big smile, he replied, "Crunchy, crunchy, yum, yum, greeny, greeny, good, good, fill up Herbie's tum, tum, make 'em Herbie grow, grow. Nowsy, Herbie want 'em crunchy, yum, yum, feely, willy, empty. Herbie hear lots of bang, bang, and woo, owie, ear holes, musty be, baddie roar, musta eat 'em someone, so Herbie goesy bye-bye, baddie can't see 'em." Cassidy smiled. That wasn't a baddie roar or whatever that is. It was Linnea. She hurt herself and she was crying. She gets pretty loud. Herbie's eye got even bigger. "That'm sissis? Noisy, woisy, crunch, crunch on her owies? She got some big woo-woo. Somebody pull, leggy, weggy off her?" Herbie shook off the rest of the things he had pulled over himself and stepped out of the closet and looked around. "Now, Herbie munchy, munchy, crunch, crunch, want 'em. Got 'em? Get 'em? Have 'em now?" He started jumping up and down, blinking his eye. Herbie had gotten so big every time he jumped, the floor shook. Cassidy knew that Ursula would hear and be up to see what was going on any minute. "Stop it! You can't make so much noise. I'll go downstairs and get you some vegetables if you will just be quiet." Herbie stopped jumping and looked at her. "You absolute loot promise?" "Herbie need 'em crunch crunch." He began to chant, "Crunchy crunchy yum yum, greeny greeny good good, fill up Herbie's tum tum." Cassidy hurried downstairs. Ursula," said Cassidy, "I think I'd like an apple. I've had a lot of chocolate today." And Ursula laughed and didn't even look up from helping Linnea. "An apple? You want an apple? You are such a funny girl. Now eat your chocolate, and you can have a chocolate bar as a special treat." "But I'm actually kind of tired of chocolate. Maybe I could have some." Ursula put down the cloth she was using and put her hand on Cassidy's forehead, looking concerned. "Are you feeling okay? I've never heard you turn down chocolate. Maybe you should have some chocolate mint ice cream to calm your stomach." No, thank you. I'll just finish my snack. Then I might go downstairs and look at the plants. Dad used downstairs to test the hydroponic gardens he set up at school. He also tried new kinds of lettuce and other plants down there to see which ones would be best for the students' greenhouses. Me too, shouted Linnea. "I want to see the fishies." Dad was experimenting with having fish in the water that flowed over the plants' roots. Linnea loved to watch them swim around. Ursula wiped off Linnea's hands. "Okay, you may both go downstairs, but Linnea, no playing in the water." Linnea looked her most innocent and shook her head. "Nuh-uh, I'll just look." Cassidy finished her chocolate. It was good. Nice and gooey and dark, just the way she liked it. She hopped up. "Okay, Linnea, let's go." They went down the steep stairway to the basement. As usual, it was very cool down there, with a strange pinkish glow from all the lights. Dad said the lights used to be very hot, but now they were so cool you could touch them. The water kept bubbling through the tubs and tubes around the plants. Cassidy could close her eyes and pretend she was beside a stream. However, today she had a purpose. She looked around for the biggest clumps of greens. When they got almost ready to pick, they got so thick she thought she could take a couple and Dad might not notice. She found several big clumps and pulled a single head of greens from each clump. It ended up being a big pile, too big to carry upstairs without Ursula noticing. "Linnea," said Cassidy. Linnea looked up from where she was trying to catch the fish swimming around the roots. "I wasn't doing anything," said Linnea. "Linnea, I need your help," said Cassidy, "but I need you to extra super promise not to tell anyone about it. This is a very important secret." Linnea understood about secrets. She nodded. "I need you to help me carry these upstairs without Ursula seeing." "Why?" Cassidy took a deep breath. She knew there was no way to fool Linnea. Linnea was her little sister, and once she wanted to find something out, she wouldn't stop until she knew all she wanted. "If you help me get these up to my room, I'll show you." "Promise?" Cassidy nodded. "I promise. Now hide some of these under your shirt, and when I say go, run all the way up to my room, screaming as loud as you can like I'm chasing you, and don't stop for anything, okay?" Linnea nodded. She picked up a couple of heads of greens and put them under her shirt. "They're wet and cold," she complained. "It's only for a minute until we get upstairs." Linnea looked unsure. "If you don't want to know the secret," Cassidy began. That settled it. Linnea had to know. She pushed 2 more heads under her shirt. Cassidy grabbed the other 4 and pushed them under her shirt, bending over to hold them in place. "Ready?" she asked. Linnea nodded. "Go!" yelled Cassidy and let out a roar. "I'm gonna get you!" Linnea let out a series of high-pitched screams, and both girls ran up the stairs, past Ursula, and didn't stop until they were in Cassidy's room. Cassidy closed the door and leaned against it, panting. Linnea immediately pulled the wet heads of greens out from under her shirt and tossed them on the bed. Then she turned to Cassidy. "Well," she demanded, "what's the secret?" Cassidy took a breath and went to the closet door. She turned to Linnea and warned, "Don't scream. He won't hurt you, but if you scream, you'll scare him." Then she opened the door. Herbie stood waiting, a big smile on his bright blue, furry face. "I smell 'em. Crunch, crunch. You got 'em, Herbie Greenies?" Chapter 5. The Solution. Cassidy heard Linnea suck in her breath, getting ready for a great big, explode-your-eardrum, shake-the-house-down scream. She quickly turned Linnea away from Herbie, looked her in the eyes, and put her hand over Linnea's mouth. "Shh! Don't you dare scream. If you do, Ursula will be up here in a flash. Then you'll never get to meet Herbie. I bet if you're nice, he'll even let you pet him. He's really soft and fluffy." Linnea looked over at Herbie. Cassidy could see her thinking about it. She knew that once Linnea made up her mind, there wasn't much in the entire world that could change it, so she said, "He's friendly. He just looks a little different. But he has to be our secret. You can't tell anyone. Can I trust you?" That decided it. Linnea liked to be asked to keep a secret. She nodded, then turned and reached out a hand to touch Herbie. "Wait," said Cassidy. "You have to be introduced before you touch him. Herbie, this is my sister Linnea. Linnea, this is Herbie." Herbie beamed at Linnea and blinked his eyes several times and said very quickly, "I got some more namey-wamey. Me some Herbie Vor. Vor. But you be sis. You some sazy-wazy Herbie for me. I some usey got a leg pulled off ya. Wowza, you some plenty woo. You got some 3 before it, or does 'em leggy-weggy grow some back on?" Linnea looked at Cassidy, not sure what Herbie just said. Cassidy answered Herbie. "No, our legs don't grow back, Herbie. She was just crying before. Can Linnea touch you?" Herbie eyed Linnea. "You some got 'em crunch? Herbie needs 'em lotta got a green crunch. Belly welly, shrinky dinky down. Needs 'em crunch for make 'em grow." He started to chant and jump up and down. "Crunchy, yum, greeny, good, fill up Herbie's tum, make 'em Herbie grow." Linnea reached to the pile of lettuce she had dropped on the bed and held one out to Herbie. Like this? Is this what you want? Herbie leaned forward and opened his mouth so wide it looked like he was going to swallow not only the lettuce, but every bit of Linnea. Then a long, thin tongue snaked out of his mouth, wrapped around the lettuce, and whipped it into his mouth so fast Cassidy and Linnea almost didn't see it. 1 second the lettuce was there, the next it wasn't, and Herbie was crunching and spinning and rolling his eye in absolute bliss. He looked like Cassidy felt when she ate the best chocolate in the world, but 10 times more happy. "Wow, you sure do like lettuce," said Cassidy. "Like 'em," shouted Herbie. "Like 'em, Herbie no juster like 'em. Oldster faded, crunchy Herbie like 'em. Freshy, greeny, crunchy munchies, bestie, westie, this 'em? Herbie love 'em. Bestest extra yummification crunch crunch." Cassidy shook her head. She still could not understand why anyone would be excited about green things. "Maybe I'll try a salad or some vegetables. If Herbie likes them that much, maybe I'm missing something," she thought. She looked at Herbie, who had calmed down a bit. Linnea reached out her hand and began patting his fluffy blue fur. He seemed to like it. His eye rolled back and he smiled really big. Then he rolled back on the floor like an enormous furry balloon. All the time Linnea kept patting and scratching him, and Herbie started making little cooing noises, obviously very happy. Then, as Cassidy watched, Herbie expanded just like a balloon that someone had just blown a great big lungful of air into. Herbie swelled and grew. Linnea stepped back and Herbie rolled back up to his feet. Cassidy couldn't believe it. Just a minute ago Herbie had come up to her waist. Now, smiling happily, he came halfway up her chest. "Got some more crunch crunch?" he demanded. "Herbie needs some greeny crunch crunch. Want some moresy warsy?" Cassidy was backing away. "How big can you grow, Herbie?" Herbie beamed. "Herbie gets some biggy wiggy tip-top housin' trees and upsy whoopsy, but gotta get some crunch crunch. Need some now, sir. You got some?" He began eyeing Cassidy's shirt, where she had hidden her heads of lettuce. His purple tongue began to snake out and lick his lips. He didn't look so cute, not when he was nearly as big as she was, and saying he could get bigger. This was getting serious. Cassidy pulled the lettuce out and tossed it into the back of the closet. Herbie whirled around and began munching. Cassidy slammed the door shut, grabbed Linnea, and pulled her out of the room. "Come on," she said. "We've got to get some help." She pulled Linnea out of the room, down the stairs, and out the front door. To be continued.